everyone. If you are just tuning in, you are listening to Level Up Nation, and I'm your host, Stacey Preer from the Dustin Pritchard Real Estate Team. Today, I'm joined with co-host Dustin Pritchard. Hey, Dustin.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Hi. And a close personal friend, Ed Sater. Hey, Ed, how's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. So today we are going to be talking all about Ed's new business, Bluekey. Sorry, I'm giggling because everybody's kind of nodding. Yes, Bluekey. Bluekey is the topic today.
Everybody say yes to Bluekey. Right on.
Yes.
Very good. Very good. You know what, Ed? I love your logo, man. Just sorry, before Stacey even says anything, your logo, it really speaks to you. It speaks to the service that you're offering. It's very well done. Simple, but elegant.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's got a great corporate brand identity. I always speak about branding, and it's something that definitely, I think, sticks in the mind of the consumer. And I think it's sleek and it's kind of corporate looking and very on brand with what you want to do.
That was very nice.
Kudos. Hey, we're nice peeps.
Yeah.
When nice
most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. I know. So one of the things that I really, really wanted to talk to you today about was you had a property management company before called Pinpoint Management. And I noticed that you just relaunched Bluekey last week, and you were kind of doing some really cool things, leveraging the clout that you had established with Pinpoint to help establish Bluekey. So I wanted to get into that a little bit. How long was Pinpoint in operation for?
For 5 years.
And how many clients did you guys service?
We had over 1,000 units.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys are pretty well known in the city of London, Ontario here. So were you able to keep all your client lists, and were you able to migrate everything, or did you kind of have to start from scratch?
No, we had to start from scratch. What happened was, it was a decision that was made. I had a personal breakup. There were some issues with that, and some personal stuff that had to basically close down and take some time off, get refocused, and start it back up all over again.
It does happen, right, Dustin?
Yeah, it kind of does. Oh my God, can I ever relate to that, Stacey? You too, huh?
Yeah, my theme song for 2019 was the Chumbawamba. I get knocked down, I get back up again.
That's an old Chinese proverb, right? Get knocked down 7, get back up 8, right?
Exactly.
That's right. You know what? For a lot of people, 2019 was a very tough year, and 2020 was the breakout year on the new improved, focus and being able to move your life and your business forward. But so you closed down Pinpoint, and it was quite successful. Step back, take care of yourself, because it's just like taking a flight. You got to put oxygen on yourself first before you can help other people, and before you can service other people properly and deliver value to your consumer and things like that. So what was at what point in time did you decide, you know what, I got to take a step back from my existing successful business? Like what made it happen?
It was a decision that I made. Yeah, it was a decision that I made. I was going to close it up in December 31st, 2018. It was going to be a fresh start, a new year. 2019 was going to be a year of me, and basically, as Stacey knows, and I was writing a book. I was going to write a book, and then in the process of writing a book, it was taking care of my self-care, because like you said, if I can't take care of me, I'm no good to anyone, my family, my clients, nobody. And I felt like I was doing a disservice, not a service, because I was so caught up in so many other things in my life that I wasn't paying full attention to my business. And that's the most important thing. And it's not sometimes, that you look at it and say, oh my God, you closed down a business. I mean, things happen in life. Sometimes it's better to close down and start over than continuing to drag people through the mud, or whoever, myself, clients, family, it's better to start over. So now it's been almost 2 years from the day that I closed down, about a year and a half since the day I closed down, to reopening up again. And now that was the time that I needed to say, you know what, I'm going to perform a service at the top level, not not mediocre, not half, it's going to be full service, not just, at 20%, 30% or 40%.
Ah, okay.
I think that's amazing. And the one thing I want to tap into here is I often talk about the life cycle of a business, or the laughter curve, which is 7 years. So usually they say, oh, it's 1 to 7 years. So you kind of fit right into that mold, because usually by the 5th year, that's when you have to start thinking about how to reposition yourself, how to rebrand yourself, how to become the new disruptor, or catch on to whatever the new phase is. So you kind of were right on target. Now, one of the things that I think as a business owner that we can all resonate with too, is that when you do own a business, the first thing to go is your personal sanity.
I thought you were going to say your personal life,
Yeah.
but for Stacy, it was sanity.
Just sanity. We say lunatics here because we're a level up nation, but you do become a little bit of a lunatic, because for me, I found I was becoming obsessed with my business. All hours of the day, couldn't stop thinking about it, I couldn't sleep. I was constantly thinking of new ideas, how to stay ahead of the competition, what to advertise, how to blah, blah, blah. See my hamster wheel? I'm doing it right now. So it's kind of cool that you took that time off, because it starts with you personally, then it fizzles into your business, then it fizzles into all of your relationships. So essentially being able to kind of wipe the slate clean, I think was the right decision for you. So when you were doing your personal growth year, or your yes year, what were some of your, what were 3 of your main focuses, do you find?
Well, if I can just go back and touch up on the reason about Pinpoint and what happened with that whole situation. When I first launched Pinpoint, it grew quickly. It grew quickly. It was a success right from the get-go. I had a number of clients, and I put 120%, like you said, in how you start to service and over-service. I over-serviced. It was the phone was constantly ringing. I was in contact with every single person. I oversaw all the staff. And it got to a point where doing that for 3 years, 4 years of constantly being on top of everything and everyone, you get burned out. It happens, and then it was almost a resentment, to the point where, oh my gosh, my personal life is completely blown up. My my time with my kid, my time with my partner, the time, and that phone, the dreaded phone, was constantly to my ear, and then it got to the point where it wasn't fun anymore. It wasn't to the point where I answering these phone calls and dealing with this stuff. It wasn't. You have to go into the office and know that it's a good time. This is where I needed to look at and focus about, now I'm restarting, I'm relaunching, I learned. And that's the thing, it's learning from your mistakes. Not, if you don't learn from your mistakes, you can't grow. And now that I know how to position myself and not burn the candle at both ends, now I can service with boundaries. Not service and over service, right? Because if you can't service with boundaries, you're going to burn yourself out. And people, clients, and I'm a client as well. I know if someone's going to help me, I'm going to take full advantage of that person at all time, because I want to be serviced. I want to be looked after myself. Yeah. And I think that's what happens with the client mindset, is that they think that they are the only one. But when you have 1,000 of them, you can only do so much. So now it's leveraging your time, leveraging yourself, and doing it properly this time around. So I think there are benefits from, when things close down, to where I am today. Now I know how I'm going to, because when I first launched Pinpoint, it was coming out of the gates with, a whole set of steam, and not really knowing how to, position myself. And I think, Dustin, you're laughing because I think you can appreciate that, right?
I'm laughing because you're telling my story, and you're telling Stacy's story. Like, there's so many different entrepreneurs out there, and we call it fail forward, right?
Yeah.
It's not failure. Like any success is built on a mountain of mistakes and failures and lessons, right? So I was actually going to ask you, and you just kind of filled it in for me, but I was really interested because you went from Pinpoint, which was a very successful property management company. I saw it start like hit the ground and it grew really fast. I was like, whoa, that's impressive. And then it disappeared. And I was going to ask you about you're transitioning from Pinpoint, a property management company, to Bluekey, another property management company. I was really curious about the lessons that you learned. So first off, you learn not to burn yourself out by over delivering so much that then you can't really service at your highest capacity. And that sounds pretty realistic, right? That's a pretty normal thing. The second thing it sounds to me like you've learned is how to set expectations with your client so that they know what to expect and what not to expect as well. Mm-hmm. So kind of saying no to your client, like what we talked about in a previous episode, being able to say no allows you to keep your sanity and to be able to scale your business a little bit. Is there anything else that you learned from Pinpoint to Bluekey? Like, what are you trying? Let me ask you a different way. What are you wanting to continue moving forward that was successful at Pinpoint that you want to continue with Bluekey?
So one of the things with the success story of Pinpoint was the level of service. Okay, so that service component has to still be there. But, you know, if you do say no, your client respects you. You know, they understand that, oh my gosh, you know what, maybe I can't, he knows what he has to do, and they have to trust me to do, or trust the company to do the best for them and not micromanage, right? So when you're trusting someone to look after your property or looking after your building or looking after your commercial plaza, you're hiring them for a reason. Right? And so if you have a person that is completely micromanaging everything that you're doing, it becomes a little more difficult because you're constantly trying to appease, right? And again, it goes with that whole level of service. We will go above and beyond, but there has to be a time when you say, you know what, here are the records, here's everything, this is the information that you need, let us do our job. Kind of a thing, right? So, and I know that's difficult for some people because that's their investment. That's their bread and butter. But you know what? When it comes to a point where you're answering the phone every day, you know, trying to help them feel comfortable, and there is a point of feeling comfortable because that is their investment. But every day answering the phone because they are questioning this and questioning that about whether or not is it rented, is it not rented, how are we going about it, are we collecting the rent, are we not collecting the rent? These are what the financial statements are for, right? So these are things that we do. But when we are constantly having to be micromanaged is a big thing too. We have to set the boundaries. The boundaries are very, very, very important in any business, right? You have to sometimes say no to a client.
Right. Well, it turns into a win-win situation, right? So if you're setting expectations and you're able to over-deliver and really make sure that they have a great consumer experience on those expectations, anytime that you go the extra mile, they know and they feel like it's the extra mile. It sounds to me like extra mile is like your middle name. Like you like to over-deliver, under-promise, and that's typically what we should be doing if we want to grow our business. And it sounds like you did that with Pinpoint, and you want to transition that exact same theory, that same experience to Bluekey. Is there anything else that you wanted to transition from, you know, Pinpoint to Bluekey, successes that you want to bring with you? Because you're launching a brand new business and you're now telling everybody about what you do. So what else do you want people to know about the services that you offer?
Well, what we do, we want to make sure that the client is happy first and foremost. So their decision to come over to Bluekey, and they are trusting us with their most expensive possession, right? That is their, other than their home themselves, this could be the most expensive possession that they own, and they're trusting us with it. So we have to make sure that the successes that we had was we rented your unit within 21 days. That was our average. 21 days from the time that you actually signed the contract with us, we had it rented. Our vacancy rate was one of the highest. I mean, we had a 98.9% vacancy, that occupancy rate. Sorry, not a vacancy rate. Okay. Not a vacancy rate. We had 90,
wait a minute, that doesn't sound that right.
Occupancy rate. And the thing is, though, is out of that 98.9, the occupancy rate, we had less than 1% turnover, less than 1% having to get out before their end of the lease, right? So that was huge, right? So what, not only are we vetting the proper clients, but we are servicing the tenants, and they're wanting to stay. So, you know, as well as I do, and trying to keep a good tenant is key, because that just, your turnover rate is low. You're making more money at the end. So that's one of the things that we want to make sure is that our service to the landlord, our client, and our service to the tenant are both high, and are both the expectations are met, right? So if our communication with the tenant are there, so if they call or if they have any issues, we look after it right away. We're not just saying, you know what, we'll be there next week or we'll be there whenever we can. We want to get there as fast as we can, right? We want to make sure that the client, that the tenant is serviced, and we also want to make sure that the landlord is serviced. So that's how we have success on both ends of the spectrum.
That's amazing.
So you have 2 customers.
Yeah. All right, Ed, extra miles Sater.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to get a hold of you, if there's a landlord that is listening to this, or a property investor that's listening to this, how do they reach you at Bluekey? And how
just info@bluekeypm.ca, or you can call 226-980-9807.
Awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much. Dustin, Ed, any final thoughts before we take
Well, yes, of course. You know what? Just all those entrepreneurs out there that are watching this right now, you are going to face challenges. You're going to have issues. You're going to have businesses. If you're a true entrepreneur, it doesn't mean that it's one business. It's oftentimes multiple businesses before you have that sweet spot where everything works perfectly, and then your dreams rain from the sky, right? So don't give up. Keep going. It's called fail forward, fail often. Do it as much as you can. That's how you learn. That's how you build skill. And Ed is a great example of doing that, just really doing that deep dive inside, and then really translating that the past successes into his new launch. So Ed, I just want to thank you so much for sharing your story. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Well, thank you so much, Justin. Thank you, Stacy.
No problem. Anything else you want to add, Ed?
No, just give us a call. We look forward to servicing you.
Amazing. So guys, if you were tuning in, you're listening to Level Up Nation with myself, your host, Stacy Preer from the Dustin Pritchard Real Estate Team, and the big guy, Dustin Pritchard, and Mr. Ed Extra Miles Sater from Bluekey Property Management. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this episode, please hit us up in the comments. Tell us what you liked, what you want to hear more of. If you want to get a hold of Ed, just let us know. Otherwise, like, subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, and don't forget that if you like this, you want to see more, go to levelupnationlive.com, and you can register and you can get all of our episodes, all right? Ciao for now.